I'm working 9 to 5, this 9 to 5 don't work for me. I gotta find my way about this ain't how it's supposed to be. Feel like I'm settling for less, that's why I gotta leave. They may not understand it, it's not for them to see. Cause it's my vision and it's not yours, no. And you won't get it until reverse rolls around and around. I put my dreams on hold, you tell me how that sound. I wish my dreams could pay cause I work for right now. Ain't had nobody yesterday gon' hold me down. While I chase these dreams and know my goals. Chase these dreams.
So another question is, when will you have an episode where you're gonna interview your mom? So this is definitely a great segue because we are gonna talk to mi madre Hilda C Martinez. Like if you knew her in my community, you knew who Hilda C Martinez is because that's how she would write all of her articles and her writings and editorials for all her writings that she did. She wasn't just Hilda Martinez, she was Hilda C Martinez. So we're gonna bring her on. So Mom, come on. Okay, so first question I'm gonna ask, of course, it's about me. So first question they asked is, how was Desiree growing up?
Desiree, you growing up, well, she really was born at the perfect time because we were much older. Your dad and I were much older, and you came almost 10 years after our last child. Mm-hmm. So our older children were already kind of out and about, and you were raised almost like an only child.
Yes.
And because of that, we might have spoiled you a little bit, but we were more tolerant than we were as older parents. So she just about did everything that she wanted to do, how she wanted it done. And one of the things that we learned very early on about you was when we'd be out in public, everybody would always, oh, look at that pretty little girl. They'd always stop to talk to us, and pretty girl. And secondly, it was because you used to like to get my makeup and wear it, and you'd put on lipstick, and you'd be, all dolled up and put a little bit of blush, but mostly, and I used to polish your fingernails. So you were a little prissy, a little, I was a little diva,
a girly girl, yes.
Girly girl, and you used to like to try on my shoes, and I've got pictures of you wearing my hose. And your sister's shoes as well, and clothes. So you were always dolling up, yes. looking fashionable.
I always wanted to look like I was going somewhere, even though I wasn't going anywhere.
And that was a real treat for us because we had not seen anything like that in our other two children, another girl and a daughter and a son.
Right.
So, and like I said, we were more tolerant and more mature and more wiser parents.
Yeah, because my parents let me wear makeup, and I know that wasn't something like a lot of parents would let their kids do.
Yeah.
And so, but it really was a reverse effect because then it became to the point where I didn't wear it all the time, and then like it wasn't an issue.
You got over it.
Yeah, I got over it, and it wasn't an issue, and it didn't all of a sudden like spark this infatuation or anything.
And some women would always say, oh my God, she's wearing makeup, lipstick. And I go, yeah, we do. She does.
So to segue that question, I want to start with that question first, because the other question that someone asked was, tell us your backstory, when you were married, children, career, the basics.
Basics?
So we don't have like an hour. So tell us a little bit, I guess, like, how old were you when you got married, and when did you start your career, and all those things?
Okay, I'll try to keep it short and sweet. First of all, your dad and I met at a quinceaños party. The party girl chose him, and he said yes, and years later I found out he got paid to do it. And that was the way we met. Secondly, we were only 13 and 14 years old, so we were very naive, very young. We were children. We grew up together and got engaged when we were 19 and 20.
Okay.
And that was after I got out of high school and what have you. And we got married, at 19 and 20. And the funny part about that is that girls at that time could get their license without a parent signature.
Okay.
But even though your dad was 20, he had to have his parents sign for the
Marriage license?
marriage license.
Okay.
So that was weird. At any rate, we got married and we had children right away because we were good Catholics. And birth control was not in. Okay, I'm trying to make it short. And so we had 2 children within 4 years.
Okay.
And then a part of our lives were, I went to a secretarial class that I did to start my administrative skills with secretarial work and what have you. And I became a secretary for about 10 years and worked in different places and what have you. And next thing we know, we're pregnant because we were avid joggers, runners. So I couldn't get pregnant for about almost 10 years. And then all of a sudden, surprise.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you. And so,
But so you started the secretarial career back in what?
oh,
The
back
70s?
in the 68, no, 70s,
70s.
yes.
And then you worked your way up.
Yes, I worked for some good corporations. I worked for Metropolitan Life Insurance, and I worked at the time Gulf Oil Petrochemicals division, and then I worked for Exxon,
Right.
the Baytown Olefins plant. So yeah, I had a good working background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I remember obviously all of that because my mom actually was a working mom with my older siblings and then became a stay-at-home mom with
Right.
me. And so it's like me and her, our lives are actually mirroring each other a little bit because I was also a working mom
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of my kids when they were younger, and now I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm still a working mom. Just I have my own business now, so it's a little different.
Yeah, I forgot about that I quit working. Yeah.
Yeah. So, couple other great questions here. I'm gonna try to get to all of them, but I know we got limited time. So, let's see. Next question. Do you feel that things have gotten better or worse throughout the years for our Latino community?
Oh my gosh, that's like a huge yes in comparison to my generation when we were growing up. The reason I had to come to Houston to work was because hiring in Baytown was very limited, especially for Latinos. And it wasn't until affirmative action and the Equal Rights About Working that came in play, and also getting credit cards for women.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to start my work experience. I forgot to mention, I worked for a small family-owned pillow company.
Oh, I think I remember.
Yes, and
So I'm not sure if y'all heard that, but she said she used to write the letters to the customers who were complaining about the products of the pillowcases.
yeah.
So times were much different then. So
Yeah.
a lot of people had questions regarding some of your background. When did you first start helping the community, and why, and what got you started?
Oh, wow. Lots of things triggered that. First of all, I'm an avid reader of the local newspaper, the Baytown Sun, and what I would do is I always noticed that the women of the community, there were clubs, organizations, women's groups that were advertising about their teas, their parties, their fundraisers, and I always noticed that there were no Latinas in the groups ever mentioned, no names at all. And I said, well, how come we can't do that? So that's what got me motivated. I said, we can do that. Well, we had enough Latino women that were able to do stuff like that. And we wanted to fundraise for scholarships as well for the Latino students. So I started what was in the Mexican American Women's Club in 1975. And I was just, 30 something? Yeah. Yeah, and at that time, and a whole slew of women joined my group, and we started it, and we fundraised, and we also used to celebrate the Fiesta Day in May. It didn't correlate, I don't think, with the May 5th, but Cinco de Mayo. But we had a fundraiser, and we had fashion shows, and we had a little bazaars, kind of like markets or whatever. And that's what motivated me. And we did raise enough money to give scholarships to the two high schools at the time, which was Robert E. Lee High School and Sterling, which had just opened up in 1967, 67, 68. So we were able to offer to Latino students because they were not also getting scholarships unless you had to be in the top 10.
Right.
And there were far and few that were in the top 10 at the time, which is the question you asked earlier about where has Latinos come in. Latinos are now graduating the top 10 or the top 10% now. So
Yeah.
a lot has changed for Latino women.
Yeah, the community has definitely, I agree with you, has gotten better. My mom grew up in the time of segregation.
Yes.
So she was, in an elementary school that was only Latinos, but not because it was only Latinos, because that was just the community. It was just because, no, they did not let them
We were not allowed.
to go to school with white kids or black kids or interracial schools that were integrated.
Yeah, but the segregation lasted up until 1968 in Baytown. And when we were in junior high, we went from the Mexican school, all Mexican school, to junior school, which was called junior high. And it was like a culture shock being around a lot of white kids speaking language that we thought we knew, but it was a whole new
It's a different English.
different English, and trying to get up to speed with them. It was to me, it was a real major culture shock.
Well,
Yeah.
and also maybe the lingo, like their
Yeah.
sayings,
The
and
slangs,
slang.
of those days, yeah.
So another great question that I wanted to ask from the group of questions here, because there's quite a bit.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. What has been the most impactful lesson life has taught you?
Impactful lesson. Oh my gosh. Oh, by my age, there's been many, but I guess the most impactful was the fact that I was left to live with orphans with foster parents, because my mom died when I was only 12 years old, just a couple of months before my 13th birthday, and I lived in several homes and became a ward of the Catholic Diocese, I believe, and living with different families and not having any uncles, aunts, parents, cousins. That was impactful, which taught me the lesson that I have lived by all my life now. It's survival of the fittest. No one's there to protect you but yourself. When you get into a fight, it's you alone. And the most important one is don't talk about anybody, because everybody else was related to everybody.
Yeah.
And I wasn't.
And you weren't. You didn't have anybody to kind of stand up for you to some extent,
Right.
other than your siblings. So and you didn't have a lot of support or people to stand up for you or to protect you, or
So I had to learn how to fight and defend myself and find
physically
answers.
or with words?
No, not physically. I was never a physical or violent person. No, I was just questioning, and I had to get all my facts straight, and there was and to rationalize and figure out things, problem solving. I was good at that.
Yeah. I agree. So my mom obviously has shared a lot with me throughout the years, and a lot of people, I guess, assume everybody has a mother or a father, and one of those things that as far as impacted you is not having a mother or a father at a young age. One of the questions was, what impact has your mother left on you, and what role does that play in your career? So I think this question, I wasn't really sure if this question was for me or for my mom, but when I shared that question with you, I was like, well, a lot of people don't know that you didn't have a mother, but as far as the impact you have on me, we've kind of, I grew up with my mom in the time of day and age of her really being advocate for the community, powerful. You had already found your voice.
There,
You had already found your voice by the time I had come along.
Yes.
And that really impacted me a lot, because I saw my parents advocating, fighting, And when I mean fighting, I mean like verbally, like, using their voice to speak up and to speak up for people. Mm-hmm. So I think that question was a little bit about for me and for you. Yeah. So we'll do one more question.
Okay.
Or maybe two more questions. Let's see. Oh, if you could go back and change anything in your life, what would it be and why?
What would it? Oh gosh. Well, that's that old cliche, never regret. That's what made you and what have you. But I don't think I have any regrets yet because I'm not done yet.
There you go.
And now if I, go to the pearly gates, then that's different. But the thing is, getting my bachelor's degree from college, I was accepted twice from the University of Houston. I was a very good student. I was majoring in journalism and writing, and I always like to get the facts straight and what have you. And I had at one time wanted to go to law school, but because I was not a citizen until 1976, I already had 2 children. 1972 when I became a citizen. So I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the support. My husband was working labor work at the time, and that was on good days, good months, and sometimes no income. So, and then as we grew and got better jobs, then it was about supporting the kids,
the family.
The family, purchasing a home, which we had. We were the first to purchase a home in your dad's family, and so there was a lot of other things that were interrupted, and other priorities.
So the regret is not finishing school.
Not finishing school. I got my.
Which we talk about this all the time, and I tell her all the time, just finish. No, like nothing is going, and she tries to give me all these excuses.
And I almost get one project or the other.
And she's like, well, I got to do this, or I'm involved in this. And, either way, we know, like, school doesn't necessarily give you any validation.
It doesn't complete me,
It doesn't complete you. No. But it's, it's one of the things I know you have always talked about going. My mom really enjoys being educated.
I love to learn, yes. But that question about the impact on Mom, one of the things that my mom always said to us and to her family in Mexico, we're from San Luis Potosí, and she always told them that education was a priority, to get an education. So that stuck with me, and that's why I still pursue it, though I have learned a whole lot of education from just life, yes, and challenges, yes.
Okay, we're going to end one more question. And since we started about me, I'm going to end with me.
Okay. Do you want me to go now?
No. The last question is, happiest memory with your daughter?
Happiest memory with my daughter. Oh my gosh. Happiest? Oh, I can't pinpoint one.
We have a lot. Me and my mom have a lot of good times together.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think as well.
Well, when we go out to the theater or something, that you bought tickets one time, but that's just the attention, the love and support that my daughter Desiree gives to me is just a happiness in itself. It doesn't take a special day, Mother's Day or Thanksgiving Day. It's every day. What I would encourage to your followers is that to love your parents. We're flawed. We're not always right. And we butt heads and what have you.
Yes.
But ask them a lot of questions, learn their history, and respect them and love them, because they do love you. I know that. I love you very much. Yes.
I think that's something I've learned as I've gotten older, is to really ask my mom questions about her life that I wouldn't normally ask, because there was so many times that, as you're younger, you don't think about asking certain things. You just, I was young at once, so I was consumed with, you know, my life,
Your life.
my own life, my family, getting married, all of those things. And so I didn't spend a lot of time asking my mom those questions. It wasn't honestly probably till the last like 5 or 6 years really started to like learn about my mom and
Connect.
and really understand as well. So I encourage everybody as well to ask questions for your family about certain things, because it really is a product of who we become as children. I think there's always a connection of some kind. So, well, Mom, I'm so glad you're on here. I know a lot of people have been always want to know all the cheeseman, all the things. We sometimes joke. We always say like, oh, I wish we could like record our conversation, like, because me and my mom will have like these random conversations at the kitchen table. And she'll be like, man, I wish that was such a good conversation. We should record that. So maybe one day later down the road, we'll do a podcast together and talk about all the mother-daughter things. But I know a lot, everybody appreciates you coming on here and answering those questions.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking me.
And if you ever see my mom, don't hesitate to say hello. She's super photogenic and also just ready to just chat it up as well. With that being said, though, Mom, did you want to say anything else? Any last words?
No, it's just I like your platform. I really was real proud of you when you started this, because it's about spotlighting and inspiring and motivating young women, entrepreneurs, and to be true to yourself, who you are, to be unique in your own way, and to don't be afraid to fight.
Yeah, for sure. Don't be afraid to speak up and to, you know, I guess, rub people the wrong way. I know there are times, like I said in the beginning, I'm not here to get everybody to like me or whatever. I'm just here to express myself and share and support the community in any way I can. Yeah. So thank you, Mom. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Until then, guys, we really appreciate everything. And as always, thank you for the love and support. And let's vamonos. Bye. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Thank you to our sponsors for all the love and support.